On Wednesday, the local government New South Wales President Linda Scott complained that the state government in New South Wales was very slow in delivering on its pre-election promise in 2019 that it would take back about 15,000 kilometres of New South Wales roads responsibility to ease the cost burden on councils. I spoke with the New South Wales Labor Opposition Shadow Minister for Rural Roads, Mick Veitch, about this situation a short while ago. Mick Veitch, thanks for joining us on Flow.
G'day, how are you?
Great, thank you. Now, the local government in New South Wales are unhappy with a very slow, in their words, approach to the government getting this report out about their regional roads. What's the background here about why there's this disagreement between council and the state government?
So essentially the state government promised at the 2019 New South Wales election that they would go through a process to reclassify roads, about 15,000 kilometres of roads, from local councils through to the state government. And they put in place an independent panel. The independent panel has gone about their work over the last 12 months or so and have delivered an interim report to the minister back in February this year. Now, that report is still sitting on the minister's desk, and local government right across New South Wales are pretty keen to know what is in that report and what is the government's response.
So do you know how we got to this point where councils are they offloading these roads to the state government because of the cost burden, or were they original state roads that landed in councils' laps? How have we got to this point where the New South Wales Liberal National Party made a promise about this? Why was that attractive to councils?
Essentially for councils, there's 15,000 kilometres of road. If you can get that reclassified across to the state, then it becomes a state government responsibility. Councils will say that these roads are often liabilities on their balance sheet, and require substantial amounts of money. The state government does provide funding for these roads through a program called the Block and Repair Grant Program, but it's pretty clear that amount of money is insufficient to maintain these roads at a standard that meets community expectation, and to meet the community's expectation around road safety. It's pretty clear that there needs to be a lot more money injected into the maintenance, upgrade and upkeep of these roads. Council's view is, it's what's been said to me, is that they feel putting them in the hands of the state government is a better way of delivering that.
So if I got it right, the council's made submissions or applications for their roads to be reclassified, and that's part of what's under wraps at the moment. Do we have any way of knowing, or can we sort of anecdotally tell that there's a fair body of these roads that are rural roads?
So the report with the minister at the moment, it's important to remember it's an interim report, so there will be a subsequent report. And local councils right across regional New South Wales are currently going through the process of developing their budgets for the next year.
Yep.
They would like to know what this is a piece of information that would essentially help them in that budgeting process. Which roads may or may not be transferred as a part of the program. What's the state government's response to the report? Will there be money or extra money put on the table to maintain these roads? So there's a lot of information councils don't have at the moment that they feel it will be provided if the report was made public and the minister's response is accordingly made public. Now, we've been calling, the New South Wales Labor Opposition has been calling on the minister for quite some time now to make that report public, do the fair and decent thing, and provide some guidance or information for councils so they can make some of these very important decisions around budgets.
Yeah, it's a really good point you make, actually, because councils would make their business plans for what works they're going to do for the year, and they're not going to fund something they don't know whether they're going to be responsible for taking care of or not. So possibly works that need to be done on a road could be more than 12 months away because of this delay.
That's right. It's sort of information that really is critical to councils at the moment in regard to their budget. But also, we've also been saying to the minister, he's got to guarantee that councils won't be worse off financially as well. There's an issue around the sustainability of our local councils right across regional New South Wales. And so councils, whilst they're keen to transfer the responsibility for these roads to the state government, they also don't want to be financially worse off, and they certainly don't want to be put in a position where they may have to reduce their road crew staffing because of this decision. That's why it's critical that the minister releases the report that's sitting on his desk at the moment, and he provides his ministerial response so that everyone is much better informed around a range of issues arising from this reclassification process.
Okay, well, be sure to let us know if that report does suddenly emerge, and we'll look forward to analysing that further, particularly for our listeners in the Riverina area.
Yeah, look, we're all waiting for the minister to do the right thing. So, and for councils, I in a way feel for them. They've got sort of between a rock and a hard place here. They've got to fund these activities. They have responsibilities under the legislation to do so. So, look, as soon as we find out, we'll let you know.
Yeah, thanks again, Mick Veitch from the Labor Opposition, Shadow Minister for Rural Roads. We'll appreciate talking with you.
Okay, thanks very much.
And as a postscript to that interview, I did catch up with Mick Veitch a little bit further after we spoke on air, and the New South Wales state budget does come out on the 22nd of June. Maybe LG New South Wales have put this out there just to put the squeeze on the government to make sure there's a funding commitment in the budget to achieve the outcomes that they're pursuing. We'll wait and see and bring you a budget special on the 22nd of June.